Welcome back to Dum-Dums and Dragons, where improvisers who've never roleplayed before journey into the world of Dungeons and Dragons. I am the Grand Wizard Bukake, your host. Having reunited with the rest of their companions, our heroes are on a search for the lost druid Crawn. Juniper accepted a promotion to Chief Justice of House Fartch. Butthole prayed so powerfully he grew hammers for hands for a second. And Quinny isn't feeling great about their chances chasing a mad necrotist towards an imaginary castle. What will happen when our heroes set out into the storm? Find out next on Dum-Dums and Dragons.
So having spoken to Annan, sort of gotten the lay of the land, determined sort of what's been going on in your absence, the Dum-Dums have decided to seek out Crawn, the mad druid who has gone north in search of the Bastion of Failure, a fairy tale that he was told by his mentor that sounds like it might be some kind of safe spot that in theory Annan and the town could relocate to. Unfortunately, Crawn has been missing for several days, and the north is too dangerous for Annan and her beleaguered and somewhat malnourished troop of amateurs to go searching for. So having determined that finding Crawn is in your best interest, both for finding a body for Yevgenovich and also for finding a more permanent base of operations, you decide to venture north. But first, you need new threads. And so, Butthole, you're making your way downstairs to Leanne Lineshield. All of you are able to get some winter gear.
Yes.
So give a quick think to what that would look like for your character, because it is cold up here, and seemingly y'all are trapped in Icewind Dale. So it's going to be necessary to gear up appropriately.
Question: knowing Juniper is transported through portals and lost bodies and merged with things, does Juniper still have? You've still got your vestments, or do you not have your vestments of House Fartch?
She does not. Everything that was on her body is lost.
Gone.
Because basically, in merging with Old Westmoss, she has all of Old Westmoss's stuff. And she has an equivalent sword that Rhetoric.
That makes perfect sense. My brain just was not.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
Clicking on that. No, so Tyler's got his, because I know that gives advantage to survival in extreme temperature. I gave mine to Bucky.
Sure did.
He's a nice boy.
So you
I missed that coat.
You make your way downstairs, and you find sort of in the back of the floor you came through, there's a cordoned off area where there's a lot of kind of like drafting tables set up, and just a mess of scraps of heavy fur and thick leather. And amidst it all, like sort of stripped to her waist, wearing like just an undershirt, sweating profusely in this incredibly hot room that is just like seemingly steamy just from body heat, is Leanne Lineshield, who's just fucking madly weaving. Like she is just fucking working, and she's got like, you know, she's like a bit of an older woman, but she is really fucking fit. Like just kind of that like not slim like Linda Hamilton, but like in terms of Linda Hamilton's arms in like the most recent Terminator, like just kind of that on an otherwise just kind of like, you know, lady who's enjoyed the finer things in life, doesn't live a tremendously active lifestyle kind of body, but still very, very strong from kind of her craft and her trade. And she is just fucking sewing and like stabbing through leather. If any of you had spent much time with Honor System, you would recognize this as how he described sewing essentially being like stabbing things with tiny swords. But Ryan, I have to ask, how do you enter this room?
Well, obviously, he doesn't want to break a door, and this place seems kind of dilapidated. So instead, he would open the door, but then kick the wall to get the sound and say, "Hello, old friend."
And she just looks up and goes, "Ah, what? Butthole?" And she drops what she's working on and kind of has to like clamber over the pile of scrap that she's working through. You can tell she's dismantled a lot of stuff to try and make sort of size appropriate outfits for everyone. And it means that she's just kind of constantly improvising. So she like kind of stumbles and crawls her way across this sort of pile of fabrics, and just runs up to you and gives you one of those like warrior arm to arm grabs you see in movies about Rome. And because I don't feel like you guys are on hugging terms necessarily. I think you're on like professional friends kind of terms. She's like,
Yeah, I think Butthole would just accept the terms she gives.
yeah. And she's like, well, I never expected to see you again. How are you back? I thought you, heroically blew yourself up or something.
Yeah, so did I, but I fell into the Wild West, and then I went through a portal into hell, and then we sent Moonhammer back to her dimension and killed Manny, and now we're here, and I'm not allowed to go to hell again.
Well, that's a shame, because honestly, this place is kind of hell, so you made it. Sorry about the musk in here. I've been working real hard to try and make sure I can make enough materials to keep everyone here going. It's only getting colder.
Oh, yeah. It seems like a lot of you people are hungry, and I know you're the quartermaster. So I've got this beer stein that refills with beer if you bang it on stuff. It's just going to be empty calories, but it seems like a lot of you could just use some empty calories. So I think I might just leave this with you, and then you can give some calories to whoever needs them. But don't get them like wasted or stuff. That'd be probably bad.
Yeah. No, I'll probably keep this away from Dexter, but everyone else can definitely make use of this.
Okay, cool. Now we're kind of looking for some cold gear so we can go find Crawn in some sort of invisible castle that may or may not be made up.
I mean, yeah, that sounds about right for this particular expedition. All right, what are you thinking? She kind of brings you over to the drafting table.
Well, I mean, I got to keep my armor. I feel like he just starts blathering on in a very butthole way that I probably don't need to do out loud for the sake of time. But I think in the end game, I think he wants like almost one of those Game of Thrones, like kind of night watch kind of fur around the shoulders with like a cloak that'll go lower, kind of button up in the front with they can poke his arms through if need be, and then like a big hood that's like furry around the edge.
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of the style she's been working with anyway. So that's an easy fix for her. Quinny, what would you want, if anything?
Quinny sees an Ushanka sitting on like a mannequin like head thing. He's like, oh, I'll be taking one of those, please, and thank you. It's for those of you that don't know, it's like the quintessential like Russian hat with like the ear flaps.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah,
Nice.
He'll take one of those and he'll grab a pair of like fur, like liners for his boots of springing and striding. So like kick his boots off and like put those on and then put them on inside.
Oh, your tootsies are so toasty.
Yeah.
Wait, I want what he got too. But I only thought it outside the outfit instead of
she's like we've only got the one hat. Is there a different style of hat that you would like?
Something with pom-poms. Like I feel like he ends up with that toque with like the ball at the top and the little strings that come down with the little poofs at the end.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. But I think long underwear underneath seems like a really smart decision. So he's gonna copy that one.
Totally.
So Quinny's ultimately looking for lining, so he's got basically the same look, but like everything is like fur trim now because it's the fur lining kind of coming out the ends of his clothes. So he's got like fur coming up from like around the opening of his boots, his gloves. And he's got the Ushanka on his head looking real nice.
Cool. And Juniper, what would you want?
So I think I'd want like for kind of leggings and jacket would be like oiled leather on the outside and like wool on the inside. And then I'll have kind of basically like the thick like leather wool lined boots and gloves that are fur trimmed, of course. And I think Juniper would go for like just like a big full like white fur cloak that would wrap very, very tightly around her head for a hood. Basically, she could pull it to just like literally have her eyes showing.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Like that. So Leanne is able to adjust kind of the various things that she's already got lying around to kind of make those sorts of adjustments for you. Obviously, Quinny, for you, it's more so just like taking things that already exist. Long underwear, that sort of thing, is just kind of widely available. But in terms of the sort of bigger cloaks and outfits, she's able to grab those for you pretty easily.
Tom, what kind of, this is like a weird question because I mean these are always a give and take, but in terms of like the cloak or whatever the Butthole gets, what color is it? Like, I don't think he'd specify that because it's like, what the fuck do you have in this weird garment
What would
factory?
you like it to be? I'm giving you free reign.
Oh man, then it is black with gold trim. I think it's going to match his armor with like a gray fur on it. Not wolf, because that would be gross, and wolves are sacred creatures of Moonhammer. It's specified in the Moon Manments, but something, maybe it's from like a Sasquatch or something, you know?
Yeah.
Sasquatch fur.
Cool.
So he looks like a badass, except his hat is moronic.
I also think, to be clear, this is with the understanding that like all the animals that have like been used for the fur have been like also like
evil.
They were either evil.
That's what you were going to say, right?
Or they were hunted to like for people to survive.
Yeah, you get the sense that none of this is fashion wear. This is all like hardy, like you will freeze to death if you do not have appropriate. Like, yeah. This is not like a fashion outpost. There's nothing like pretty here. It's all like, you know, just that. Like I'm very much imagining kind of what a lot of the tribes of the Inuit wear, where it's just like, it's literally built to be like, this is one of the harshest climates in the world, and we have figured out a way to adapt as humans to survive in this climate. It's not like, and then we skinned 5 so I could have a cool scarf. It's like, no, I need this to survive, so here we are.
You're not looking outside and seeing a fox farm with like 50 foxes, and they're like, we can't eat them. We're going to sell them next season.
Yeah, exactly. No, this is a very like a very, very practical shop. Also, you get the sense that everything here is somewhat old, and a lot of it looks reused. Like it seems like a lot of it's been reprocessed several times. It's part of the reason Leanne has so many scraps to work with. It's just like, it's very much a nothing goes to waste kind of depot.
One thing Quinny would also be looking for, he's just trying to think about like winterizing like his already, as far as he's concerned, his already like very useful outfit and general loadout. Mm-hmm. So lining for the boots, but would there be any frames that he could step into that have like teeth for like better traction on ice and things like that?
Yeah, I think we could safely say you can get some like treads
like
on...
like just treads that you step into and out of for your boots and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and like just clasp
like,
over.
Like crampons?
Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
I think of a crampon as being an animal.
Nope.
Okay.
Is that the climbing term for them, Laura?
Yes.
Okay, well, like, regardless, like cleats for the ice. Similarly, Laura, I think without too much difficulty, some of the more like engineering minded folks can figure out ways to kind of like add extra grips to your tires.
Yeah.
Mostly just so that they're like similar to the cleats, just give you a little bit more grip on icy terrain.
Yeah, sweet.
The chair is highly customizable, so it's not like a huge, you know, it would take a lot more tinkering if you were trying to like properly upgrade it. But for like small things, it's built for, it's a hardy chair. It's built for all climates.
Cool.
And so, so all of you get kind of outfitted with that. You get kind of like basic survival stuff if you don't have it in your kits. So, you know, like insulated water flasks, that sort of thing. There's not much food. There's a bit of jerky that you're all kind of equipped with if you need it. But realistically, food is scarce.
Yeah, honestly, we're so well fed that I think Butthole would probably just leave the food for the starving people. He's got
that's fair.
He's got a good week right in around the torso region for himself.
Nice.
Cool. You're like a food camel.
Oh, Tom, don't give me a fifth thing he has to say to people when he arrives.
Amazing. Okay. So, are there any other preparations you'd want to make before you set out in search of Crawn? Would you want to like stay overnight, or are you looking to set out immediately?
I mean, like, I've got full hit points, so I'm good to go.
Do you know how long ago Crawn left?
3 days.
Oh, yeah, we should probably go
to make it 4. Yeah.
Yeah. They're so desperate that I think we can go. The only person who's in any way hurt is Butthole, and he's not really hurt at all. So he could probably just like take a minute to bandage his snow-related snowball injuries. Like any kid, just getting a little wash down and get some grit out of the cuts, and then he's probably good to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you like me to lay on hands on you?
Do you know, why don't we save that, Juniper? Because I feel like I feel like this is just one of those rub a little snow on the bruise and it'll feel better things.
Yeah.
Rub some snow on the snow wound.
Yeah, this is good snow.
Yeah, it's the real hair of the dog solution, you know.
There you go. So yeah, he'll just use some hit points and be back to full capacity.
Cool. All right. So with that, you set out in search of Crawn. In terms of finding your way, I'm going to be looking for, I believe, a nature check to just kind of get a lay of the land as you make your way out into the snow. It's gotten colder and a little bit darker. The snow is beginning to fall a little bit more heavily. It's still that kind of beautiful light snow that everyone likes walking through, but you can tell by the snowbanks outside that it is already getting thicker. Laura, you're grinning. Did you roll well or terribly?
No, I haven't rolled yet. I was just like, oh yeah, nature, because like Juniper friggin' loves nature, but I forgot that my intelligence is 0 and I do not have proficiency in nature, so it's just 0. I'm like,
just an enthusiast, not a professional.
Like it.
Exactly. It's like she loves nature. She just doesn't know a whole lot about it.
Fair enough.
Knowing Butthole is awful at nature, but he can pray for divine intervention. Can I just try to roll for his divine intervention power anyway instead? So how that works, because we're dealing with the flavor of Moonhammer not actually being him for the power. I think it's him trying to use his body to channel her power as like a divining rod to figure out where the hell they should go.
Sure.
I got a 9.
I got an 11.
It would literally be harder for me to fail by more. I had to roll a D100 for the check, and you have to roll under your level. I'm level 14, and I rolled 97.
Ooh. You want to spend some luck to try and
yeah, shit, eh?
Wow.
All
right.
I am not a divining rod. I am cold.
You're
and
just
my
a rod.
armor pees a little bit.
You set out into the wilderness, and unfortunately for all of you, you aren't able to easily find Crawn's trail. It has been 3 days, and it is snowing. And before long, you find yourselves in deep snow, woods all around you. You don't know where you came from. You don't know where you're going, and you are well and truly lost. The sun is setting now. You can just kind of see the blazing red of it through the trees, and night is falling. How would you guys try and get your bearings, or how would you try and find your way to Crawn, do you think, in this current predicament?
Can we see the stars?
Not yet. You will be able to soon. If you want to wait a little bit, you absolutely can.
Okay. I think Quinny will offer that out to the group and say, so we could, wait for a bit to see the stars and kind of get our bearing that way, or I don't know, I could climb a tree and have a look around.
Because we got to keep going north, right? I doubt he started going north and then went east for 3 days.
Well, yeah, but which way is north, Butthole?
No, I agree. You go up the tree and then we can figure that out. And then oh my God, what am I doing? I don't know shit about nature. I got a wolf, Big Goblin Jr.
Where
we let you lead the way.
Where did the sun set? Did we see the sunset?
You can see the sun setting, yes.
Oh, so we know which way is north.
Okay, so we know which way is north.
Okay. Wait, good. Oh, the sun tells you the direction?
I see Butthole start walking towards the sun. No. What? The sun is not north.
No. So
no, the
away
sun
from
sets
the sun.
At the sea, which is west.
Wait, so that's the ocean?
Eventually.
Way, way west, right, Tom?
When it's nighttime, is the sun underwater?
Yes. Way west is the ocean.
Yeah. Are we really about to have this conversation, or are you fucking with us right now?
Does the sun go underwater at the end of every night?
No. Butthole.
Then where does it go?
Well, if it sets in the west and it rises in the east, where do you think it goes?
Well, I mean, I know a lot of clerics of the sun god, so I imagine there's a bunch of them in the east setting it on fire, and then they've got a big catapult, and it throws it over us every day, and then it falls into the ocean and goes out now that I know the ocean's over there.
This guy's responsible for keeping us alive.
I mean, how much realistically would we know?
You know that the sun rises and sets, but no one's been to space.
I mean,
there are telescopes.
granted, yeah. No, I mean,
Candlekeep could probably tell you a lot. but
like
how much
ancient
would you...
Egyptians figured out that like the Earth was round.
I mean, realistically,
would we know?
Juniper has traveled widely enough that I feel like it has spent enough time in nature that I think you would actually have a pretty good sense of this. Quinny, I think you would actually as well, growing up in a farming territory, just like an understanding of it would just be common sense. But Butthole, growing up in like a cod, no one gives a shit. Sun goes up, sun goes down. Who cares? You have 12 hours to kill as much as you can. Then you have 12 hours to kill as much as you can in the dark.
Yeah.
That's
12
about
hours
it.
to kill, and then 12 hours to
I wouldn't
not
be
die.
surprised if Archibald was like, I do it. It's me.
By my hand alone does the sun rise and fall.
So I think like Juniper takes a moment. All right, let's sit down for a second. Gathers a bunch of snow, creates like snowballs of various sizes, and basically tries to like describe like orbiting circles. Like
when he's trying to help
spheres.
by like drawing stuff in the snow with a stick.
Yeah.
I guess we are ultimately waiting for the stars to come out as we explain.
Yeah.
Okay,
Juniper,
so-
can you roll a persuasion check?
Sure. 16.
Okay, and Ryan, can you roll an insight check to see how much of it you're picking up? She's doing a good job explaining it, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're doing a great job of listening.
Oh man, I am not.
Oh no.
I got a 12, and that is adding 10.
All right, so Ryan, what is Butthole taking from this description they're providing?
Okay, so every morning the clerics start a new ball of fire, and then they just throw it straight up, and it gets caught by gravity, and it spins around the big snowball like a little snowball until it circles all the way around, and then it eventually falls into the ocean. But sometimes it does like 3 loops.
I just look at Quinny and say, does this matter?
Why doesn't
No.
the sun hit the moon?
The moon is like super close.
Is the moon the sun after it goes through the water, so that's why it's not on fire? That's just what the middle of the sun looks like?
Well then,
Nope.
but sometimes Butthole, come on, think about it. Sometimes you see the moon and the sun at the same time.
I do?
Yeah.
I need to look up more. But maybe
Okay,
it's a
do you know
reflection.
what?
What if somebody had a mirror?
The sun god and the moon god, and they have an arrangement.
and then
And
they
never hit each other.
Oh,
They're
so it was
really
like
cool.
it was like my dad and my mom, where they were like, we'll never be in the same room ever. But sometimes one of them would see the other through a window.
Yeah.
It's so sad. when
I just look
marriages
at Quinny.
don't
I'm
work
like, I don't think it's worth it. I think we should just continue on. I think
I
we
don't
should just move north.
I don't understand how he can come up with unprompted this mirror theory, but he just won't accept at face value that the sun goes around the planet. That's Quinny being wrong.
Yeah.
That's Quinny's farmer brain being like, the sun goes around the earth like
Right.
the moon. It all goes around
Right.
the earth.
Can we just go north?
And Quinny looks up to determine where north is.
Yeah, you can get your bearings now.
Yeah, and Quinny's like,
you've
okay,
burnt
yes,
enough
and
time.
Just go.
Okay, so I'm gonna follow Goblin Jr. because I feel like Goblin Jr. has the best shot of nature, better than me. And Butthole cast guidance on Goblin Jr. and be like, just look for Crawn, boy.
Guidance is plus D6.
Guidance is plus D. I think it's D4. Yeah, D4.
All right. Well, I got a 7. So, and that's with a 4 on the. Oh, and I guess he gets plus stuff. Okay, yeah, that's fine. He's able to determine, like, he basically isn't. He's very enthusiastically leading you the direction you probably would have been going based on the stars anyway, but like very enthusiastically helping. So yeah, he leads you, and after a time, you start to find what you think might be some evidence of Crawn's passing. Can you all please roll me a survival check? It's getting chilly.
Do we get anything for our gear, Tom?
Yeah, I'll say you get advantage based on your
Cool.
winter prep gear.
With advantage, I rolled a 7.
Okay.
16.
16.
22.
22. Okay. So Tyler, you're going to take 5 points of damage from being cold. But the rest of you are fine. Juniper, you're wheeling along when you feel your front tire and your back tire run over something rather sizable. Looking down into the snow, you find a blue severed arm.
And then just kind of throw my hands up. Arm.
What? Yeah, you got. I see them, both of them, looking good.
No, and I hold up the arm, and I hold up the arm and wave it.
Ah!
Oh, is that what Crawn looked like? I haven't met this guy.
I don't know. I mean, does it look? How old does it look? Does it look like super frozen and like?
It looks pretty frozen, but it also looks like it's been dead for a while prior to being frozen.
I want to see the end of this arm. Is it a clean cut, or is it ripped, or shredded, or bitten, or what?
It does look bitten, but the wound has not bled in quite some time.
Okay.
You can also see that there are clearly some what seem to be drawings on it in an ink of some sort. There seems to be like a dotted line and some arrows.
That's the kind of crap I would draw on things when I tried to put together Frank and Quinny, I think.
Yeah, is this a...
Oh.
It's like the arrow of where you put it on the other parts, would be my guess. Unless that's a tattoo, and then I don't know what that is.
So this could be something that Crawn had for the Franken body and discarded.
If you'll recall, Crawn had a bag of holding full of assorted body parts that he brought with him wherever he went in order to stitch together increasingly strange dungeon-dwelling monsters.
Okay, so maybe...
We're going in the right direction!
Ooh, wait, maybe it'll smell like him. Goblin Jr., can you come smell this arm?
Yeah, snarf. So Goblin Jr. gives it a quick sniff and gives you kind of like a face, and then kind of nods and takes off in sort of like bolts off into the snow. The three of you chase him for a time. He just keeps like finding body parts and just kind of flipping them back over his shoulder. Before long, you find a pile of body parts around the base of a tree. There seem to be a number of footsteps, sort of like paw prints in the snow, and you can see sort of drag marks near these body parts.
Can I look? Is there anything in the tree?
Looking up, yes, there is a skinny druid clutching the tree. Just like pretending, doing the Jurassic Park, like if I don't move, they can't see me thing.
Crom?
Oh!
Crom, it's Quinny.
What? Quinny?
It's Quinny.
Quinny from the dungeon.
Yeah, man.
King Quinny.
Well, Quinny.
Did you lose your crown?
He's the king again. This guy over here. This is Butthole Fartch. He's the guy you were building a body for. He's back. He doesn't.
Hello,
new friend. Nice to meet you. Yeah, Quinny abdicated, so it's me now. What are you doing up in the tree?
Well, I got a little bit in over my head, so I was just kind of throwing out some of my trinkets and my treasures in the hopes that the wee beasties that were around might take a liking to them instead of me. And then I decided to just hide up this tree here. I thought it was perhaps the safest place old Crawn could be, at least until I figured out the plan. But I'm out of bits and I'm out of pieces. So I was fixing to just kind of freeze to death up here unless some magical eagles or something came and saved me. I think I read about that in a book once. I was kind of hoping for it, but I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think so either, buddy. Why don't you come down here and we can talk?
All right, but you got to promise me something.
What?
Can you promise me you're not trolls?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I'll promise you that. I swear I'm not a troll. I swear she's not a troll.
That's Juniper, by the way.
Hi, I'm Juniper. I could be.
Hello.
I mean, no, I'm not a troll.
We don't need
She's
to have
not
this
a troll, but
conversation.
she
Thank
can-
you, Juniper.
She could disguise herself as one if we need that, if that's useful. You know, Quinny, Goblin Jr. over here, rocks,
Sir.
not a troll, wolf.
Well, all right. Sounds about right. Is Reginald with you?
Oh, he's back at camp.
Oh, all right. Well, don't see that I've got much to lose if you are trolls. If you decide to kill me, it can't be much worse than freezing my balls off up here. So down I go. And he just kind of like jumps dramatically out of the tree, but he's like a stick man. So it's just like a full body, like just plunges down into a snowbank. Body parts fly up into the air. He just kind of crawls out of it and dusts himself off. Just kind of like looks you up and down, Butthole, looks you up and down, Juniper, and says, "Oh, well, pleasure to meet you both. Your Majesty, I assume. It's a true pleasure. You couldn't have come along at a better time."
It's nice to meet you too. Do you have a weapon for yourself, since apparently they're trolls?
Oh no, that's why I went up the tree.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll give you a loner. And he just like opens up the stomach of his armor, and he'll take out the hammer and sickle, his backup hammer. You can use this one for a bit. Now, it's a sacred relic, so don't lose it. But it'll help you because it's pretty good.
All right. Well, look, I tell you what. If old Crawn fucks it up, as Crawn is like to do, I promise I'll put it in my bag of holding before I go down, and then you can just come in and you can take it off my corpse. You just reach inside, you grab your magic hammer. I just want to make sure you don't lose it, even if I lose my life.
Okay, everybody, I like this guy. He's cool.
So thank you.
We need you to make a body for Yevgenovich, and you have some kind of invisible castle we need to find.
Oh, you're going looking for it, eh? You believe old Crawn?
It sounds like you're the best and only chance we got at this. So what do you know?
I'm so sorry. I didn't realize it had gotten so dire. Crawn's your only hope.
Yeah, it's bad, but we believe in you. We believe in you a lot. I mean, I don't know you. I just showed up and you were hiding in a tree, having thrown corpses everywhere, but I feel like you're my kind of person.
All right. Well, if I'm your kind of person for doing that, then you're my kind of person for liking it. Listen, Crawn was up here looking for a little old, nice little piece of home called a Bastion of Failure. Belonged to a famed necromancer known as Duke Fane. My old mentor told me about it. He didn't quite believe it was real, and honestly, I'm not too sure myself. But figured it was worth a shot, better than freezing to death in the fur factory, if you know. So the Bastion of Failure. Here, can one of you strike up a fire? I got to tell you, I'm a little bit chilly, but I'll be happy to tell you all about it and send you on your way.
Juniper, I feel like you're the most outdoorsy.
Sure. I can. Yeah. I've set fire. I've made fires. I made camp a million times.
Yeah. And
this is fine.
Old West Moss would certainly have flint, because you got to make those cold desert nights. You got to make fire. So you set up a fire to kind of warm your bones. Goblin Jr. just kind of curls up next to the flames, and Crawn begins to kind of tell you the tale that was told to him. So he says, so legend has it that Duke Fane, he was a famed necromancer, very feared. No, not quite a lich. He didn't quite get that far, but really good at raising the dead, making them do his bidding. And he was a spooky fella. He'd take them everywhere. People would be like, "Oh no, look out, it's the undead, they're coming for us." And he'd be like, "Oh, give me all your stuff." So he did that for a long time. He'd go raiding around the countryside and taking what he wanted. But as I understand it, being a necromancer is a bit of a lonely life. Not like me. I mean, when I'm populating a dungeon with all sorts of critters that I made, that's fun for me, just seeing what fits together and what I can set loose and, how's it going to work and what's going to be scary? What's its secret weakness? And watching the adventurers, kick their asses and going, I should give it more fangs. Always fun. But with the undead, you're not really doing much, You're just picking whoever you find and bringing them back and saying, go eat that guy's brains or whatever. It's not quite the same. It's enjoying someone else's work, not your own. So as I understand it, Duke Fane, he started to get a little bit lonely, started to find that the life of a necromancer wasn't really doing it for him no more. So he decided to walk away, which isn't something a lot of, the big, powerful, high-hat magic users do. Something that's quite frowned upon, particularly by their mentors in their communities. So old Duke Fane, he was worried. He was worried that one of his fellow necromancers, or worse yet, a lich, might take issue with him deciding to, take a step back and retire, as it were. So he decided to invest in some rather unique magic, and this is why I kind of think the Bastion of Failure might be our best hope. Duke Fane wanted to make sure that no necromancer could move against him in his home. So he managed to find a unique enchantment that prevents the undead from setting foot in his home. He called it the Un-Undead Zone. just keeps all of them from getting in. And now, of course, it meant he couldn't practice his own craft, which I'm sure was a little bit difficult for a man of his renown. But I got to thinking, old Crawn started thinking, if we needed somewhere safe for us, for our friends, from the undead, where better than the Undead Zone? So this palace, he called it the Bastion of Failure, because he found that, his life ultimately was a failure. He was trying to find a thing that would bring him joy, and instead he found nothing but misery and loneliness. So he built himself a place to reflect and to carry on projects the likes of which I don't know but would like to. So I'm thinking if we can find this place up here in the mountains, it might be a nice place for us to, lay down some roots, figure out what we're going to do, and stay safe from all the undead critters. You know what I mean?
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I want this castle like really bad.
Yeah, I think the world needs this castle and this magic.
Needs the magic for sure, but people are back at camp there. They're starving and freezing to death. Is this castle going to be warm and bountiful with food? I mean, sounds like it's just an enchanted castle.
I mean, yeah, that's
an enchanted castle. But just not everything that the people are going to need to survive.
No, but I bet we could feed them troll.
Oh,
I mean,
if
you can stop the trolls, they're also a bit of a problem, and that brings me to another thing. So you might have noticed back at the camp there, back in town. Oh, also we are Annan. I don't know if we're still doing that, but on the off chance we are. Oh, look at me! I'm an Annan too. I guess.
So we talked to Annan. It's okay.
Oh,
I mean, none of us are. So
okay, great. That's pretty exhausting. I understand why she did it, but really not Crawn style. Crawn's a Crawn man, In any case, it would seem the fellows who ran it before us, I think they got eaten by the trolls, and it was the trolls I ran into up here. I think they may be headed for the same place, which gives me hope because it makes me think that maybe it's up there. But they kept talking about a big iced-in house, which I can only think is possibly the Bastion of Failure. So you probably have to deal with them first. But Duke Fane was a very rich man when he retired, and I bet there's stores there that could at least keep us going for a bit before we figure out the resupply situation. I could probably make us some critters to go get more food.
Yeah, if there's enough food to feed the trolls, then logically, if we take out the trolls because they're evil, otherwise, I mean, Chief Justice is going to have to make the call. But we could even send like a raven to Alan, the portal mistress, and I bet we could open some kind of portal to get some food dropped off or something.
I mean, yeah. I mean, first and foremost, where did the trolls go?
And he just kind of points in the direction that you were kind of going, so north.
Okay, so we can talk out the rest of the details on the way, but we should get going.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to come with you if you think I'd be of use, but I got to tell you, as you probably remember, without my bag of tricks, I'm really not much use. So I'd be inclined to head back myself, but if you want, I can come with you.
I mean, I hear the stories around Icewind Dale are you try to turn back and you just find an icy wasteland behind you.
And
you've been out here for 3 days.
Yeah, he nods and says, "Oh yeah, that's merely because of the trolls. Look, I tied this little rope," and he pulls up a very, very thin spider silk thread. He's like, "I've had this around my ankle the whole time. I kind of thought people just follow this. I thought that's how you found me."
Oh, that would have been really smart, but no, we're kind of stupid. Okay, I'm thinking if you go back, you can help look after the rest of the group. I'd say you could start bringing him this way, and here's how you do it so nobody freezes. Reginald, he's going to hate that I told you this, but Reginald has a glamping tent. And if you set up this very small tent, inside it, it's like the size of a palace. There's a fireplace. You can cook stuff. There might be food. It was stocked by not Peter Baelish, she told me. So just put everybody in that thing. And then you've just got one tent you got to hide somewhere instead of trying to keep everybody in like a moving caravan or whatever.
I mean, that sounds great to me. I've never really been one for camping, but I'm certainly one for glamping.
All right, then you could tell them that we're going to go find this bastion, so they can come this way. I mean, realistically, if we don't find it and they stay there, they all freeze. Or if they come this way.
Sounds better, at least to have some hope, no?
Yeah, closer to victory.
I just like the person we found hiding up a tree, going to freeze to death, was snipping his nose at camping.
Clearly, he's not good at it. He was up a tree planning to freeze to death.
Funny.
His plan was to freeze to death.
Yeah.
Crawn, are we going to need to leave a trail for you to follow past this point?
He just holds up a finger excitedly, and he takes off the silk thread and just ties it around the tree. It's like, It's great. I'll find my way back here. And any pieces that I dropped, I'll just pick back up. Leave them like little, gruesome breadcrumbs for me to follow back.
Yes, Crawn, but past this point, will you be able to find us after we've cleared away to what is hopefully the bastion of failure?
Place that you haven't been able to
send up a signal of some sort, and I'll come find you. I mean, I must admit, it was mostly the trolls that prevented me from going any further north.
All right.
Okay, and we could probably mark trees too. Like Quinny, you got your magic ice sword or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could carve an X in some trees, maybe a Q if you want to be dramatic.
Yeah, I could carve up some trees. We are usually pretty good at making our presence known, so I'm sure we could also send up a signal of some kind.
All right. Well, sounds good to Crawn if it sounds good to you.
Let's just build little snow people and point them. Put sticks
There
in
you
them,
go.
pointing in the direction.
We got a lot of ways to communicate here, so I'm feeling very well equipped for this journey.
All right, Crawn, well,
excellent.
you take care of yourself, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Sounds good. I'm rooting for you. I think if anyone can do it, it'll be the three and Wolf for you. And he kind of pats you each on the back kind of enthusiastically. You all gain 1 point of inspiration from Crawn believing in you and wishing you well. And with that, he gives a little wave, throws the hammer up over his shoulder, and is clearly weighed down by it, and starts making his way back towards the camp.
Okay, so awkward question for those of us remaining. It's nighttime. We're heading towards a land apparently full of trolls. Do we want to try to sleep here so we're rested before we go to fight a tribe of trolls for an invisible castle? Or do we want to try to get a couple hours headway and sleep maybe closer to them?
I'd be inclined to sleep further away from them. I mean, we were hurrying to check on Crawn. I mean, I think also Old West Moss is very not used to the cold. So she's we just hunker down for a bit and warm up.
Okay, so you're saying sleep here. That was a long way around to it, but I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Quinny, thoughts?
I'd like to keep going.
All right, we'll keep going.
Butthole, where
That
do you
was
fall in it? You're the tiebreaker.
All right, I'm thinking we go for 2 or 3 more hours so we don't go past midnight, and then we can all sleep in some shifts wherever we can kind of find the safest area. Quinny, you're the sneaky of us, so you can find the sneakiest spot, and then we'll sleep there. Does that make sense to everybody?
All right.
Yeah.
So you continue to travel north as the cold intensifies, the snow gets thicker, but eventually you find almost the equivalent of a cave just from a felled tree. It's got a little kind of warm area, like a little pocket you can sneak in under. In the distance, you think you can see sort of a massive structure, although from here it looks almost crystalline, and you fear that most of it is encased in ice. That said, you can make out stonework, so you're pretty sure you found the Bastion of Failure. You're able to make camp fairly easily. You start a small fire to keep warm. You kind of get set up for the night, and you set a watch, a rotating watch, and everything feels safe enough, as relatively speaking as you can be. Who takes first watch?
I'm gonna take first watch.
Great,
perfect.
Yeah.
So Butthole and Juniper, you both kind of tuck in for the night. Quinny, you kind of pull your cloak around yourself and sort of get ready to keep watch. You're keeping your senses open. It's gonna be a long night. So with the fire behind you, your friend's safe, progress being made. You go to lean against a tree as you kind of rub your hands together and see your breath kind of appearing in puffs before you. But as you go to lean, you find no solid purchase and instead fall sideways and find yourself pinwheeling through the air before hitting hard wood. You can smell chicken and some kind of broth bubbling. And as you sit up, you see a fully laid table inside a familiar, gruesome house. You see Reginald sitting at the long table, and as a pair of teeth troubles the side of your cloak, kind of dragging you up, you see Baba Yaga smiling at you, saying, Quinny, good, you're finally here. I'm making dinner. I think it's time we had a chat about the future.
This episode of Dum-Dums and Dragons features the voices of Ryan LaPlante at the Ryan LaPlante on Twitter, Tyler Hewitt at Tyler_Hewitt on Twitter, Laura Elizabeth at EL Hamstring on Twitter, and our DM Tom McGee at McGeeTD on Twitter. This episode's sound was edited and mixed by Laura Hamstra, and Dum-Dums and Dragons logo is by Decapitated Markers at Decapitated Marker on Twitter. Our theme songs are And Now for That Massive Coronary and Skipping Through the Orchestra Pit Part 1 by Peter Gresser, and our ad music is No Control and Chiefs by Jazzar, JAHZZAR, all available at freemusicarchive.org. When it comes to Dum-Dums and Dice, you can visit our website at dumdumdice.com. Our Twitter and Instagram are at dumdumdice, and on Facebook at facebook.com/dumdumdice. But most importantly, we've got merchandise at redbubble.com/people/dumdumdice, or you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/dumdumdice. That's DUMBDUMBDICE. And tune in next week for more Dum-Dums and Dragons. Dum-Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time. Christian Menicola, the half-blind prophet. Christopher Little, Sue One, George Dolby. One True Artistry, Orion Birchfield. Lord Abradovic, Noel Lewis, Scott Garland, Anthony Griffin, Jordan Neesmith, Benjamin V, Gavin and Abby McDonald, Cade Peters, Richard Cranium, Anna Zed, Eric Williams, Logan, Fire Unfriendly, Acrix, Cameron Ezel, Grandma Likes D&D, Austin Nut Powers Fry, Stabby Stranger, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumdumdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.